In 2010, 4-year-old Paulette Gebara Farah disappeared from her own bed. For 9 days, the country mobilized to find her. The house was searched from top to bottom. Every corner was examined over and over again, but there was no trace. And then, unexpectedly, Paulette was found. In her own bed, as if she'd been there all along. But how come no one noticed her? Or were they asked not to notice? Tonight, we'll unravel the mystery behind Paulette's tragic disappearance. To the truth may be darker than you think. Before continuing with the video, please subscribe to our channel and don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Paulette Gebara Farah was born on July 20th, 2005. When she was born prematurely, doctors doubted she would even survive. She weighed only 800 grams and her organs were not fully developed. After 4 months in intensive care, she survived a brain hemorrhage and won the fight for life. However, this left him with permanent damage to his movement and speech. Although doctors said it was impossible for her to walk, Paulette surprised everyone with the love of her family and the therapies she received. With horse therapy and intensive rehabilitation, she was able to take steps, play games, and go to school. She was recognized as the child who tried the hardest in kindergarten and won everyone's hearts with her determination. Paulette radiated joy with her smiling face and endless energy, despite every hardship. Her story was not only the struggle of a little girl, but also the purest form of clinging to life. But this peaceful life would be shattered in March 2010. On the night of March 21st, the family returned from Valle de Bravo. That night, everyone went about their routine. Lizeth and Paulette put on their pajamas, brushed their teeth. The nurses helped Paulette to settle into her new bed. Pillows were placed next to her so she wouldn't fall. Her sister Lizeth kissed her goodnight and everyone retired to their rooms. In the morning, everything seemed normal. Her father was getting ready for work. Lizeth was still asleep. Erica, the nanny, went into Paulette's room to get her ready for school. But her bed was empty. She looked in the bathroom, in the other rooms, but she was nowhere to be found. She went downstairs and told Mauricio. Her father asked them to look in Lisat's room without any alarm. Erica went back upstairs and checked the rooms one by one. Paulette was not there. The family panicked. They searched the house thoroughly. Bathrooms, closets, every nook and cranny was checked. They looked in the garden, in the pool. They lifted the pool cover in hope, but the result was the same. Paulette was missing. As a last resort, they went to security. They asked the guards watching the building if their daughter had left. No one saw anything. It was as if Paulette had vanished into thin air. Hearing the news of Paulette's disappearance, each one felt as if a part of them was missing. The family could no longer hide the situation and called the police on the morning of March 22nd to report their missing daughter. Given the seriousness of the situation, every area of the building was meticulously searched by the police, but they found no trace of her. Doors and windows were intact, suggesting that someone had facilitated the disappeared person's exit from the house. Despite all the searches, no trace of the missing little girl was found. In the gloomy atmosphere in which the family lived in the following hours, there was only one ray of hope, a solution. Alberto Vosbaz, the Attorney General of the State of Mexico, and his team searched day and night in the Gebara family home, hoping to find Paulette. But time was running out fast. Lizeth expressed her desperation in front of the cameras at every opportunity. In every interview, in every word, she called out with one last hope: "Help us find Paulette." The media were doing their best to publicize the little girl's disappearance and her family's grief. Paulette's photos was posted on every wall in the city, generating thousands of shares on social media. The posters read, "My name is Paulette. I am 4 years old. I have mobility and speech impairment. I have a scar on my left shoulder. I cannot move on my own." While many people called for help for the family, Lizard's voice tugged at everyone's heartstrings on television screens. As the days passed, tracking down the missing girl became more and more complicated. But the family had not given up hope. The pain in Lizard's eyes grew deeper and deeper, and with each passing moment, it became harder to wait any longer for her missing daughter. While addressing thousands of people on television screens, she continued to search for her missing daughter with her own inner strength. And one day, maybe a miracle would happen. But when and how would this miracle happen? As Lizeth saw her missing daughter's bed surrounded by stuffed bears, she reviewed every moment from the beginning of Paulette's childhood to the day she disappeared. In that moment, despite the support of her family and friends, she knew she had to stand strong to get her daughter back. "I don't have time for tears. I have to find my daughter," she said, becoming more and more resilient with each passing day. In the days that followed, hundreds of people came in and out of the house. Lizeth's best friend, Farah, slept in Paulette's bed for 3 nights and never left Lizeth alone. As the searches deepened, the investigation took on a new dimension. The police noticed inconsistencies in the testimonies. The caregivers claimed that Lizeth had not been overly concerned about Paulette's disappearance that morning and had been calmly smoking a cigarette. Mauricio, on the other hand, appeared to be worried about his missing daughter, but over time his suspicions about his wife began to grow. His suspicions about Lizeth baffled the investigation team. The fact that Farah, the mother of the missing girl, was able to talk about everything in a cold-blooded manner was seen as suspicious by many. New inconsistencies have led investigators to question the true extent of the case. Was this really a crime? Or was there something else? As the family began to blame each other, investigators were faced with the challenge of solving the case. As the investigation progressed, 4 adults were arrested and the house was seized for further investigation. Family and staff were brought back to the house, and a detailed investigation was launched to reconstruct the last hours of the missing girl's life. Paulette was captured on video on March 31st, 9 days after her disappearance. However, every area of the building was re-examined and dogs were brought in, but to no avail. When the lights came back on after the blackout, Paulette's lifeless body was found in bed, wrapped in blankets with a gap of 15 centimeters. An autopsy revealed that the death was the result of asphyxiation, and there were no signs of violence. Investigations showed that Paulette had died the night she disappeared and had eaten at least 5 hours earlier. An orthopedic cloth was also found that had been used to cover her mouth. Farah, who had slept in the bed for 3 nights, also did not notice her lifeless body. The lividity on her body was on the wrong side, even though she was on her right side, indicating that her death had occurred in a different position. Controversy grew across the country. People questioned why no one checked her bed for 9 days, why the smell of her body went unnoticed, and why dogs did not find it. Police officials had to answer questions that were prompted by the public's desire to know the truth, but their answers sounded like excuses to many. The most striking explanation came from Prosecutor Vosfors. He said that it was impossible to feel the putrid smell of the corpse because Paulette weighed only 15 kilograms. which means that the decomposition process was much slower than in other people. Also, the reason why the dogs did not find the body was because the specially trained dogs were focused on determining whether she was alive or not. Because Paulette's scent was everywhere, they could not detect any foreign odor. However, instead of calming public anger, each explanation only increased it. Many believed that Paulette had been murdered by her own family, that her body had been planted, and that the police had covered up the murder. Some journalists argued that the family had strong ties to important politicians in the country, which may have helped them to maintain their reputation. Another hypothesis was that family members were aggressive. Body language experts dismissed Disappearances Farah's tears in interviews about her daughter's death as unreal and argued that her frequent expressions gave her away. When a journalist asked if they had killed Paulette, Disappearance nodded as she said no. Also, in an interview in her daughter's room, Disappearance was shown folding and hiding her daughter's pajamas. If Paulette's parents were indeed the killers, there was still one question that remained unanswered. Why? With this question, more lurid hypotheses have been put forward. According to one theory, Paulette Gebara had huge debts and planned to buy an insurance policy to get out of them. Disappearance Farah was allegedly tired of taking care of her daughter. The tragic story of Paulette Gebara Farah was found dead in her bed after an intensive 9-day search, but the case went no further. No one was arrested or charged with murder. Justice concluded by determining that the death was accidental. 10 years later, the public continued to insist on knowing the truth, or at least a truth that would ease the pain of loss. Paulette's death not only left a deep wound in the hearts of those who knew her, but also tore her family apart. Mauricio and Disappearance separated after the discovery of their daughter's body and disappeared from the public. Due to social pressure. Disappearance, however, filed a lawsuit against the state for personal damages and hardship, and was awarded a sum that will allow her to live comfortably for the next 35 years. Every step in the pursuit of justice is one step closer to the truth. If this story moved you deeply, and you would like to discover more true crime stories, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. You can also turn on notifications to be notified instantly of each new video. Remember, the truth will eventually come out. See you in the next video. Goodbye.